Yo guys, what is up? It's Teach here, coming at you again with another video over on Ark Survival Ascended, and you can see that we are at the top of a mountain because yes, we are trying to locate 5 best locations on the island in order to get yourself a ridiculous amount of metal. Now, just so you can see everything there, but we're going to go to the 5 different locations. I'm going to show you the location on the map. We're at the first one already. And you can kind of see latitude, longitude, 80.2, 46.3. This is the mountain that you want to go to. This is the easiest metal. It's not the most always, but it's a good easy source of metal. So you can see there's quite a few metal rocks that look like this all over the place. This is the new look of metal. It's kind of got like these like funky crystals coming out of it. But that's the new look of metal in this area. And it's very simple. Like, you just go to the top of this mountain and you'll find a whole bunch of these rocks. They're just all over this mountain. They spawn usually in the exact same location, so it's not very tricky. It's just something that exists. Again, you can see it there, you can see it there, you can see it, I think there's a little bit down there too. But it's the top of this mountain, and again, those chords, just so you can see them, 80.4, 46.7. This is the first and easiest location for the start of getting metal. Now, location number 2, also pretty easy to get access to metal. It's these go up in the complexity, not necessarily the value, but the complexity. So this is the second location that you want to get metal access from. It's not the volcano, it's not the snow zone. It is the chords of 33.9, 60.7. So what you're going to notice, it's a little harder to get metal here because it's actually embedded into the wall. So you can see that if you probably have access to some sort of flyer in order to get all this metal, because it's kind of on the cliffside, but there's a ton of it. It really is like all over this cliffside. But you're probably going to need an Argentavis and an Anki, or a Quetzal and an Anki, or a 2-person team. Not as easy to do this solo, but it is doable. So there's a ton of metal here. It's just harder to access. And again, there's your points, so you can kind of see what I'm looking at right now. And that's the location that you can go. Again, it's the second easiest location to get metal because there's not really anything dangerous nearby, and the cliffs nearby make it hard for wild dinos to sneak up on you. But players will 100% do just that. They will come after you. So that's the second location that you can get access to metal. Now, location number 3, again, it's a little bit more complex to get to this zone because you're surrounded by the redwoods, and you can kind of see that I've got the this big terminal here. I'm gonna hide that range actually, but again, it is something that it's not super dangerous once you get past the redwoods. Because of the redwoods forest have a lot of dangerous tames inside of it, you have to basically fly over the top of them in order to get to the center of this mountain. But once you get to the center of the mountain at the location of 57.8, 48.8, you will have a large amount of metal, and it's all over the place here. It's kind of spread out. That's the only thing that kind of sucks. You've kind of got to go looking for it a little bit. But with an Anki and a Quetzal, or an Anki and an Argentavis and a 2-man team, it is 100% doable to get a large quantity of metal. It's just in the walls, kind of surrounds the mountain, and it also goes around the base of the mountain too, so you can find some at the very bottom down here. So you technically can just run up to this. If you're on foot, you can use go old school and get like a Diplo or anything else, because there's no cryopod, so you kind of got to fly over here or use something that's quick on the ground in order to access this. So the most valuable tame is probably an Argentavis for you because of that access. Again, this is the number 3 spot. It's got quite a bit, but it's a little harder to get to, making it a little bit higher on our list because it's got overall more metal, but it can be a little bit complicated to access. So this is the 4th spot. Again, another one of those spots that's more difficult to get to, like more progressively difficult, because of the fact that this one is in the upper right corner near the snow biome. It tends to have some pretty crazy weather schemes. It's either stupid hot or stupid freezing cold. And there's also some fog that tends to sit on top of this mountain, which really sucks because it means you can't see a friggin' thing more than like 4 feet in front of your face. Yeah, so that sucks. But there is a ton of metal all over this mountain. There's a little bit up on top with more crystal on top of the mountain, and a little bit of metal on top, but around the sides of this mountain, there's a ton, especially where you can find flat zones. The nice thing about this one, see how there's nothing in the cliffs? You want to actually go towards the bottom of this mountain, and you'll find a very large portion of metal on the areas that are flatter. but it's got a very good safe access. The reason I like this one is because a lot of people don't go here, so especially if you're in a PvP server, this is a safer mountain to go to get a large quantity of metal because it's more spread out. People kind of tend to be a little bit lazier when it comes to something being spread out like that. They just don't want to go there. But again, see how much you can get towards the bottom side of this. You can see that there is danger down here. There's a Carno, but there's a ton of metal at the base of this thing. You just have to go to it, which is, again, is the crappy part. All that metal, and it's just all over the base. You can run up quickly, grab it, and then run. And that's one of the easiest things to do. Tends to have a lot of these here too, those supply crates, which are quite lovely. You can see that they land not inside the mountain now, which is kind of nice because they used to just land inside the mountain and it sucked. You do have to find the right point to access it. There it is. And you can also get quite a bit of these on this mountain. But this mountain is fantastic for getting metal access, especially for mid-game because there's a lot of it. So if you've got a good team, that's kind of where you want to go. And it doesn't even measure up to the final spot. The final spot has the most concentrated metal access in the entire game. It used to be this entire thing was just a giant metal pit. However, it's not that way anymore. So if you go around the lip of this volcano, there is a very large quantity of these smaller sized metal nodes, obsidian and crystal. Now, usually the best thing you can do is just take a Quetzal or a Argentavis in somebody, and you can just land up on here, get a whole bunch of metal. You can see it all. It's very concentrated, so people will come up here a lot because you can leave with a couple thousand metal ingot. And yeah, it's kind of hard. I got to get rid of that. It's really frustrating me. But there is a lot of concentrated metal up at the lip of this thing. So easy thing to do, get to the very top and then grab that. And usually on your way down, if you find the actual pathway, see the pathway that goes up into this thing, you can take this pathway and find a whole bunch of metal nodes on the outside of it as well. So you can actually go over here, move down the metal nodes, and then you go down over here, and there's a ton of metal. The entire pathway has metal on it, so you can do this on foot. Let's say you want to go a little bit more old school and run an Anki up this, or just run yourself up this. There's a ton of metal up this pathway. It's, again, not the greatest because it can be dangerous, but it's the highest quantity of metal without going into a cave or in, you know, anything super dangerous. This is the best metal you can get on the entire island map. It's just this giant thing that you have to go up to. So you know where it is, probably about 4035.8, and it is a pretty good location. You can't really complain about it because it's one of those things that is not super I mean, I guess you've got to get the right time because people are going to hit this all of the freaking time. So you just have to make sure you come up here pretty regularly, hit your metal, and then get off, because especially on a PvP server, people are going to try and not let you up here. So hopefully this video helps you out. If you don't mind, smash that like button below, leave a comment, and then if you want to consider subbing for the algorithm, that would be awesome. I'm almost to 100K, and that's what I'm going for. All right, Teach out.